What is good? What is good, everybody? So, we're doing the podcast today. That's why we're up here. The reason we're all laughing is because I just took out Jordan's intro and put in my own. We're going to make one that's going to be for the podcast. Don't worry. But while Ross and Jordan were just talking backstage, I just snuck this in here.
I thought you were putting in the Medellin Wholesale Collective. You can go ahead.
No, we could do that next. I'll get the outro for that one. But until then, how's everybody fucking doing today? Jordy, how we doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing so well, brother. And blessed on every account. Grateful to be here with my brothers. Yeah, I got no complaints, man. Not a single one. Listen, the Bulgarians were a little rough this morning, but we got
Bulgarians.
So we're feeling fire. Ross, how you doing, my brother?
Doing excellent. Just finished a little workout. It's been honestly a hectic morning, but I don't know. You ever get like so caught up in things where you almost get pissed to get out of it, and you actually clear out the room quicker? You're like, all right, let's just blaze through all this nonsense and get it done. Let's I don't know. I kind of use a little bit of annoyance or anger to fuel success. So that's how today's been so far.
Not living in peace, Rossi. Not living in peace. Gotta find that.
Not every morning. Definitely not. Trying. How you doing today, Joey?
I'm doing phenomenal, honestly. Couldn't be better. Trying to find my inner peace every single day now, and I feel like today is one of those days that we're getting there. You know, the work. If anyone has ever read the book, The Untethered Soul, I accidentally read The Untethered Soul at work. So it basically goes over how the workplace is a spiritual environment. And it really fucking is, guys. Like, it really is. Everything that happens throughout your business, it's all about how do you react to these things? Do you process them? Do you let them go through you? Or do they sit inside of you and just piss you off and you let them bottle it up? Or you get angry and you react bad about them in a negative way? So today was one of those days where I could say I won the fucking day so far in a very good way and feeling great. So enough about me.
Way to rub that in, Joey. I appreciate that.
Well, what we are going to be doing today, guys, and I had to just take the salt and put it on the wound for Rossi boy. Yeah, we just gotta lead. We gotta lead from the front in life, guys. It's how we do it. You know, I would talk to someone yesterday that gave me a good perspective shift, and I'm gonna give it to Ross, and then Ross is gonna give it to Jordan. It's how it's gonna fucking go.
And just real quick, Joey's actually used to leading from the back, so leading from the front is actually way different. Throw that out there.
Typically lead directly from the back and right in there. So
yeah, where the sun goes.
That's how we do it. So today what we're going to be going over, guys, we're getting into the life of who the fuck is Real Estate Ross, the Ross Dillon. Me and Jordan kind of know who Ross is, but we're going to be going deep into Ross's life, giving you guys a background into who he is, and then getting deep like we did with Jordan the other day. So stay tuned. We're going to get into this shit. Ross, why don't we start from the day you were born?
Ooh, well, I don't remember that. Psychologically, you don't even remember anything before 4. Allegedly, I was born on a Friday night at 5 o'clock. This is back in the day where they had a 5 o'clock whistle. So I came out the chute at the 5 o'clock whistle on a Friday night as a Leo on National Tequila Day, which is actually my older sister's birthday as well. This is in Morristown, New Jersey, northern New Jersey, probably a little under an hour outside of the tunnels. But yeah, I was born in 1987. My mom's name is Susan Dillon, and her husband, my late father, his name was Peter Dillon. So yeah, born on a Friday. Ball of fire. I guess I was close to like, I don't know, 10 or 11 pounds or something ridiculous. I was like a watermelon.
Jesus.
Golly.
Huge head, huge shoulders, not a damn thing in between I think it's just a lot of skull. So
Oh, that's what you
yeah, just a lot of very thick skull. But yeah, that's kind of how things went. So yeah, I had my older sister, and yeah, I guess we'll kind of fast forward around when I was like 5 or 6. That's when I can start recalling some memories. My father was a graphic designer, entrepreneur. He had his own office in the basement of our house. Our house was gifted to us by our great aunt. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, but we were able to live in a nice small town outside of Morristown. And we got by. We struggled a lot, but we got by. So I can't complain about the town we grew up in. Besides, it was boring as shit. So being brought up at a ton of ADHD, I liked learning everything about everything and experiencing everything in my power in such a small town. So I started off playing a lot of different sports. Baseball, I was a catcher. Ice hockey, I was a goalie. I loved fishing a lot. There were a lot of streams, ponds, and then I would do some deep sea fishing with a family friend a lot. Let's see what else. Loved professional wrestling. I did a lot of, like playing football, like on the cornfield. I never played like actual football. That was one regret. But yeah, it was just a lot of like riding bikes, like doing all the stuff that you did in the 90s. Loved video games. And we would just go out and figure out fun. There were no phones. There were landlines. You would call up. You would either call the parent, ask permission to speak with someone to see if they're even home or if they're on a bike ride or not, or you'd have to go to the popular parks and stuff in town to try to meet kids. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting upbringing. There was never really a dull moment. I was pretty average in school, not the smartest kid in the class, not full blown retard either. So I was kind of like in the middle ground. Definitely nothing special. But yeah, it was small town. But with small towns comes small town politics, and that was something I always hated. I hated other people's drama. I didn't care unless they were in my inner circle. I really didn't care too much about people's problems besides people who were close to me. And I'm a born ambivert. I can be extremely extroverted when I'm in the mood and I feel comfortable around you. And I could also do my own thing for 6 months straight without talking to a soul and just being locked in. No issue either way. Grew up, had a couple pets. That was the thing in the 90s. We got a lot of pets. Dogs, cats, birds. I had like a freaking iguana. 90s were they were just a wild, crazy time. It was when everybody was just like they're doing today, figuring out, but it was more out of the digital world. You're doing it in real time with real people in their face. And I think those experiences were more memorable and you appreciated them more because it wasn't just like doom scrolling. So I did appreciate no technology, but I'm also blessed to live through all of these technological advances that have occurred and tried to stay either with the times or maybe even slightly ahead. But yeah, I would say the biggest dramatic impact in my life was it was when I was 10 years old. My father was struggling with weight issues. He was a drinker. He chain smoked cigarettes. He beat up his body. Lived through like the 60s and 70s. Kind of was a little bit of a greaser. But yeah, I would say probably the biggest impact was that time when I was younger. And I would say it was like early morning hours. This was in the fall of 1997, and essentially we got woken up by my mom, who's actually viewing right now. Hey, Mom, how are you? So she's on here now, but she woke up my sister and I at like, I don't know, 2 in the morning. And essentially she said there's a big problem. I'm calling an ambulance, and I don't think your dad's breathing right now. So it was a crazy, probably we were up for a good 24 hours after that, but the ambulance came, from what I recall, and we were kind of in the room, and the ambulance came. They were working on him, doing CPR for almost an hour. And he, unfortunately, he did not make it. So he passed away in his sleep, hopefully peacefully. That's kind of the way we all want to go. But that was like a turning point in our lives as kids, because we had all that buildup. He was a coach in a lot of the sports. So he was a mentor and a best friend, and he just set me straight. He was very direct, no bullshit, fucking raised his voice, scared the shit out of you. And I think a lot of his leadership was instilled in me as a result of that. So yeah, I mean, after that occurred, it's basically like this is where you got to focus on how you react to things. So at that time, I just freaked out. I was the worst kid ever. I stopped going to school. Eventually got kicked out of school. It was all just because I was hiding from small town politics. That's what it came down to. Everybody was like, "Oh, did you hear about so-and-so?" And this was like a very rare thing to happen. So everybody talked about it. Everybody was in your business, or they're like, "Oh, I feel so bad for you." Blah, blah, blah. I just didn't want to hear it. So my way was shutting the world out. That's how I handled it. There's not a good way to handle that ever. There's no right way, but that's what worked at the time. And the outbursts and just riding out that wave of emotions for the next probably solid 4 years helped me get through it. I went in on it. I hugged the cactus. I did everything you could possibly think about wrong, and it's almost like I got it out of my system for the most part. So yeah, I mean that was like a dramatic situation, and that looking back at that, like everything else that occurred in life was a trickle effect, honestly, for the better as a result of basically being a piece of shit for 4 years. So
what ages was this?
This is 10 through 14. Like 13, 14. So I started getting my act together like at 13. I got allowed back into the school, and then transitioned into high school. And that was when I was obsessed with like professional wrestling. Skateboarding was a huge thing. And then I was just obsessed with music, and it was all like the pop punk, just all like Green Day, Blink-182, Offspring, kind of like late 90s stuff. And I would just interrupt my sister all the time when she was listening to Backstreet Boys and just kind of taunt her and, just really just be a nuisance in her life, because that's what younger brothers are put on this planet for. So, yeah, I would say skateboarding I picked up on. I loved it because no risk, no reward kind of thing. Like if you want to do big shit on a skateboard, you're either going to stick the landing or you're fucked. And I got severely injured a lot of times. But I had a seriously high pain tolerance. So I was able to ride through it until I snapped my leg. And I was trying to do like some crazy trick off like a fucking like playground thing in like the winter, and the ground was frozen. And I was just trying to do this huge jump, landed on the board, completely snapped my leg. It was like both bones all the way through. So put it this way, that humbled me with the skateboarding career. But it's funny, instead of kind of like being a sob and just down and out, essentially what I did was I always found a way. It's weird. I have this thing where I'm like, okay, this happened. What next? I'm very passive when huge shit is thrown in my face, whether that's bodily injury, whether that's unexpected things that pop up in life, whether that's people dying, losing close friends, like anything that comes up in life. I'm very, in a way, stoic, where I just focus on the controllables. And I think there's nothing more powerful than having awareness on your reactions to what's going on. It doesn't mean you have to react perfectly, but it means I'm going through this right now. This is what's happening. What's next? I'm in a hole. How can I dig myself out? So instead of going like primal all the time, I always was resourceful. And if I didn't have the way, I would ask really good questions to people that were smarter than me, or I'd look things up on the internet or read books, and I would find a way. That's one thing that I would consider would be one of the superpowers is resilience and resourcefulness. A lot of my close friends, they never worry about me when I'm going through something major, because essentially when the shit hits the fan, they know I handle it with grace. It's always so temporary, and I know this too shall pass. So there's nothing like being great in a state of fear, a state of panic, a state of overwhelm, and finding greatness, however little that win is for the moment or the day, to get you to the next. So yeah, other than that, I went through high school. I got really insanely obsessed with drums. I drew a liking to Travis Barker, and I basically carbon copied everything he did to get to where he was at. He joined the marching band. I was a freshman. I went from not being able to read music in 3 weeks to being the first freshman snare drummer with all the senior drum corps guys over summer camp. So 3 weeks, I nailed that spot. From there, I joined jazz bands. I joined orchestral. I played every single style of music you could think of. Anything from, I would say, like jazz all the way up to like speed metal and like Latin music and everything in between. So I was very well versed, total drum nerd. I did not pay attention whatsoever in high school. I could give two shits about school except for music, and then occasionally skateboarding, and then it was honestly just partying and chasing girls. That's it. That was high school in a nutshell. And then throughout high school, I was a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. I did pick up, that's when I started making money off like mowing lawns. And it was actually even before that, now that I think about it, because I was cutting grass. I learned how to cut grass at like 7 years old. And it was like, this is a lawnmower. This is the gas can. This is the oil. Don't put the fucking oil in the gas, and wear pants, because it would kick up rocks and like the weed whacker, and like that shit would fucking be bad. So that was like the advice I got. And it was like, just roll with it. So it was just a different upbringing. And you basically like essentially like become a fucking man or just you're a pussy. That's it. And that was instilled in me more so after I lost my father, because there was no other man. There was a close family friend. His name was Donald Golbicki, R.I.P. He passed away a couple Christmases ago. He was a second father. And then we had some like half siblings, 2 older sisters and a half brother. And the half brother, I kind of looked up to him. He was a big like athlete, football stud, always bringing like different girls over to the family parties and just slang. But I didn't really have too many like serious father figures besides those influences. So it was essentially up to me. What's that saying? It's like, if it ain't you, then who? Yeah, or if it ain't up to me, it wasn't meant to be. Yeah, if it ain't you, then who? So that's kind of how I roll with my life. It's kind of like rolling with the punches. And I think when you get good with that, you don't become bulletproof, but you become really good at deflecting. So when a shit show comes in, you basically assess the situation, deflect things that aren't in your control, and then literally take care of what is, handle it, move on to the next. I'm very task oriented, very driven, and basically, if anybody steps in my fucking way, it's going to be a problem. So if you don't have belief in me, you're out of my life. You're done. So I've eliminated a lot of people. I've been ruthless with my mindset. And even my mother says, you are really good at choosing your friends. That's another superpower. I could pick up on bullshit very quickly. That's a Northern New Jersey thing. If you're a flake, I'll probably find out in the first 30 seconds. We ain't going to be doing business together. When I say doing business, that means our friendship. I'm not talking about actual business, right? So I'm really good at picking out, like cherry picking really good people and bringing them into my circle. And I'm very loyal and very protective of them. And that I cause everybody to level up and reach their internal goals mentally and their external goals physically. They always have a shoulder to cry on. And I do not allow them to feel bad for themselves for too long, because I know they're all better than that. And if they keep going down the hole of misery, I just dismiss myself from their life. So I've been through a lot of girls, a lot of guy friends, and the people that made it this far, they've made it this far for a reason. So yeah, like going through high school, it was a lot of drumming. It was women. It was partying. It was playing in bands. And I played in a lot of different bands. Really started wanting to drop out, get my GED, and tour the nation as a drummer. Almost every band I played in, and most of my friends in high school, all of them are older than me. I was always the youngest and the dumbest. Not necessarily the dumbest, but close to, right? So yeah, I hung out with older people. I played in a lot of bands. Stopped taking high school seriously. Essentially, in a polite way, told all the teachers to fuck off. Like if I pass, I pass. If I don't, it doesn't matter. And if you try to pour into me, you're going to be wasting your own time as a teacher. So they really respected the brutal honesty. So from there, I got pretty darn good at drumming. Released a couple like albums back in the day. Started playing all these shows. Started building up the crowds to, from 50 to multiple hundreds to finally hitting the road. I finally convinced my mom to allow me to drop out beginning of senior year. And they're like, you have to go to all these courses. There's no way you're going to be able to take the state test. So what did I do? I got resourceful and found a way. So I researched all the community colleges and essentially found a community college that you don't need to take a test. You could just take 2 different courses one day and then 2 different courses the second day for the GED. There's no pre-tests and study courses. Found the one college that does it, banged it out in a weekend, got my GED, kept my promise to my mom. At that time, I was delivering pizzas, working at a music school, and then touring. And that's all I did for multiple years, probably 17 all the way up to about 21. And it was just a ton of touring, instructing younger kids on drums. At a certain point, I got close into basically Travis Barker's circle, and I was able to even take my mom and a close friend, Nicole, who's still a friend to this day, and we were able to go side stage and backstage with Blink-182 and Green Day and meet all them. I've been on Travis's bus. We would bust out like drum drills on our practice pads and stuff like that, and just anything I go into, I will find typically the best of the best. Pick out everything I like about them, carbon copy, and then try to get into their mindset and their circle of how did they get there. I don't focus on myself. I focus on them, and then basically success leaves clues. And then I did that almost for anything. So there was a lot of growth mindset that got me through everything, because everything is figure outable. Like, people say, like, I don't know what to do, or I fucking give up, or I can't handle this right now. And I'm basically like, shut the fuck up, slow it down, and look at this resourcefully. Who can you ask? Who can you talk to? Who can I introduce you to? What do you need from me? You bitching gets us nowhere. I say that to myself, and I say that to other people that are close to me. I don't want to hear the complaints. I want to hear the ideas. Okay? Complaints are a waste of my time, a waste of my energy, and frankly, it's selfish. And the more you do it, the less I'm going to be in your life. So let's focus on the ideas, the solutions, and better outcomes. And that's all I've done my entire life. So essentially from there, the music industry took a pretty massive dip. I was born just honestly a few years too late in every endeavor I took on. It was kind of like missed the boat a little bit. That could be a limiting belief, or maybe it just wasn't around the right people in the industry. But the music industry was pretty fucking cutthroat. Oh, yeah. And the more I devoted my time into it, the broker I got, and the worse influences I surrounded myself, and it was just a party lifestyle. So at a certain point, I had what's called a I had it moment. I joined the fire department in town. I became a volunteer firefighter. I wanted to check out like what this shit's all about. ADHD is a real thing. So sitting behind a desk like I do now, that was not going to fucking happen. So did a lot of volunteer firefighting, learned a lot, went to the fire academy, and then started doing ride-alongs with police officers like in the town. They would go to all the local sports bars, watch games, and I would shoot the shit with a lot of cops. And eventually I met the chief of police of the town over, and he's like, hey, do you want to do a couple ride-alongs? And this is going to be for a Friday night in a busy-ass bar town where it gets crazy. It's pretty high crime. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of going call to call to call. And it's essentially a shit show. Are you ready? And I said, abso-fucking-lutely. When? So he signed me up. I did 3 ride-alongs, and at that point, I changed everything, changed my life. I immediately went into county college. I got my associate's degree for criminal justice. I banged that out in a little over 14 months. I did credit overload in every semester. I passed every fucking class besides like algebra. I had to get a tutor. And I got D for dumbass, but D's also get degrees. So that was the one rough area. So I banged out the associate's degree, and I started applying. I was going to pay my way through the police academy. They shut down that program. Again, born just a little too late, right? That program shut down right when I graduated. So what did I do? I focused on physical fitness, becoming an absolute stud with calisthenics, running, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, trying to score the best academically and physically in every fucking area. I applied. I probably did 20, 25, 30 different interviews with police departments. I got turned down every single time because I was arrested when I was younger for criminal mischief, doing dumbass shit, breaking shit. That's what guys do. You do it enough, you get caught, and there you go. So I had to get that expunged for my record. That took about a year, and I just relentlessly took tests. I eventually moved into that bar town. I got residency. Residents are top of the list. So I paid my way through college. Well, didn't pay, but got student loans. So it paid for living expenses while I was still working at that restaurant. And then essentially, I got a letter in the mail a few days before the list was about to expire, and they put me on the list. So I went through that process, got to the very end, was in the top. I was 7 out of 7. They were going to hire 7 guys. I didn't get the gig because the psychologist looked at basically the upbringing, the death of the father, and then the criminal mischief charge, and he said, "You're not suited for the job." So I was like, "Okay, fuck you. All right, we'll see." Because I'm looking at all my other friends that were cops, And they had way worse track record than me. I was like, this is horseshit. So I appealed that, continued taking all these tests, did a bunch of interviews, fought, kept getting near top or at top. And then eventually I won that appeal, got in, went through the academy, almost failed firearms because I'm not really a gun guy. Like I was like okay at shooting, but that was my weakness. And then they brought me back over the weekend. I had 48 hours to learn how to score very high. And if I didn't shoot above like a 90 that day, I'm out. So all I did was I got my handgun, I dry fired in my living room, and I went to the gun range and just worked on this slow, methodic trigger squeeze with the perfect amount. Almost thinking your hand is like a vice grip. I was able to score a 97 on that Monday morning. The other two people, they got kicked out.
Awesome.
So I was the last to win. I almost lost out of the academy. And then from there on out, I was a police officer in a very fucking busy town for, it was almost a decade. So it was working 80-hour weeks. I was working myself to death. I got knowing I was working myself to death, and it was taking a toll on my health. I started really getting into self-development and self-improvement. So at that point, there were a lot of road jobs. There's a lot of downtime, and I would have earbuds in. And, because you're standing out there sometimes for 10, 12 hours a day, 15-hour days sometimes if the job gets held over. This is in every kind of season of the year you could think of. Joey's familiar of how brutal the winters are, sometimes in 14 degrees with wind chill, and then other times in 102 with 100% humidity while you're wearing all that gear. So that opened up my mind towards self-development. I probably got every single fucking book you could think of on self-development and self-improvement. And essentially, there were patterns. I'm pretty good at picking up on patterns. And I noticed a lot of these people were not only mentally wealthy, they were actually wealthy, like in their life and all these different areas of their life. And on these podcasts, Ed Milet was my favorite at the time. There was a lot about real estate. There's a lot about real estate. So real estate kept getting brought up over and over again. Grant Cardone was brought up a lot. And just like syndicating deals and multi-hundred unit apartment buildings, and thinking that big blew my fucking mind. And I'm like, all right, how can we get there? And then I listened to an episode with Manny Koshman, and I realized that that if you can move here, not even be able to speak English, and live out of the back of a station wagon in the 80s and build up a $100 million real estate portfolio, which is now in the multi-billions, there's no excuses for me. So that was like the I've had it moment. And then I started looking into real estate, and then stumbled over Wholesaling Inc. podcast and realized that you can essentially be the middleman and market to distressed property owners, send them over a purchase and sale agreement, and then you find another investor who's willing to pay a higher price, and you can assign your rights of the contract to another buyer, and you're the middleman, and you keep the difference between what you agreed on with the seller and what the end buyer was willing to pay. So that got me into wholesaling. I started listening to all these podcasts, and I literally just went all in. I did the paralysis analysis, education overload, and it took about 2 years to finally pull the trigger on a mentorship. And then essentially the day before the world shut down in the pandemic, I got a call from Brent Daniels for his course. He was like the closer on the phone. And I joined TTP. And that's when I really started stepping up the wholesaling side. So every time I had a free moment in law enforcement, I was either listening to podcasts, going through the course, reading books on real estate and wealth building, reading books on business, leadership, anything self-development, and just literally consumed my entire fucking life. That's all I did was focus on that. And then I started taking pretty serious action, cold calling, learning sales, learning marketing. I tried every single fucking marketing channel you could think of back then. And that's what slowed down my progress for my first deal. Trying to get a deal in New Jersey is also really fucking hard to do, especially in North Jersey. South Jersey is a little bit easier, a little lower level of sophistication. And by the way, if you're from South Jersey, I'll say that to your face too. And then if you're from Northern New Jersey, it's a little bit more sophisticated. So with higher sophistication, you're going to get less deals, but bigger spreads because the price points are just higher. That's what it comes down to.
How long did it take to get your first deal?
I think it was like in between 19 and like 22 months.
Oh, wow.
So I finally got my first deal because I was doing it part-time. It was almost like my life was divided up into thirds. I had my regular patrol shift, patrol overtime, and then wholesaling. So cold calling, I realized how much I fucking hated it. So what I did is I would work overtime to then pay a VA to do the cold calling, give me the leads. I would run appointments. And then finally, off like a direct mail campaign, it wasn't even cold calling. I got my first deal. I locked it up for $209. It was an older guy. And then I ended up selling that to a cash buyer for $249,000. And it was a $40,000 spread.
Damn.
And it happened right before I was going to give up. And that's kind of how things go. So, because you are fighting as a wholesaler to get deals done, especially your first. But it is a true battle internally to get through that, because every force, the universe, all of your friends, your influences, most people are saying like, what the fuck are you even thinking? What are you doing? What is this? Is this even legal? Stop. Like, cut the shit. This is stupid, right? And they might not actually say that, but they kind of like hint it with their little thoughts and little jabs they throw your way. So yeah, it was hard as shit. Was able to get the first deal done, and then at $40,000, you get that check in the mail, and it was like a certified check, and then that was like essentially close to an entire year of working overtime in every fucking climate you could think of. So that's when I was like, fuck overtime. I really doubled down. I found another wholesaler in the market, started joint venturing some deals, locked up more and more deals, and then eventually partnered with him and helped take his business from $300,000 to $3 million a year. And we did that in about a year and a half, 2 years. So we were able to 10X his business, moved out to Phoenix because in law enforcement, I got into basically trying to get this guy into an ambulance because he was trying to take his life. And this was on a construction job in the winter. I basically had to get him on the ground, put him in handcuffs. He was trying to jump into this massive sinkhole that was taking up 3 of the 4 lanes on the major highway that comes through town. Burst pipes. It was about a 35-foot deep hole with freezing cold water on a burst water line. And he wanted to end his life that day. He was pushing past construction guys to try to kill himself. Allegedly, he just went through a divorce a few hours before. So I was able to save his life, but in the meantime, he was fighting me, trying to take my gun, wrap me up, trying to punch me in the face, anything he could do to take his own life. So I was able to get him in handcuffs during that scuffle. My left thumb got fucking jammed in a handcuff, and he yanked it away as hard as he could. This was a very stocky, short guy that was not feeling any pain. He was high as a kite on every drug and alcohol you could think of. I was able to finally handcuff him, but my left thumb got caught in the metal and yanked back hyper aggressively. I didn't even feel it at the time. It was all adrenaline. And a few days later, my hand blew up and I realized there was something seriously wrong. So that caused basically irreparable ligament damage. They threw me on desk duty for a year. I was doing PT on desk duty for that year. Essentially, I went in real deep with wholesaling. We started locking up deals left and right. We were getting some fat closings. And I realized this is likely going to be the way, regardless of whether I get thrown back on the road or I'm forced into retirement. I will be an entrepreneur, and I like this a lot more. My passion changed, and that was it. Well, over the course of a year, they gave me notice. They kept running me through all these tests, and they essentially said, you are no longer cut out to duty for your injury because basically to manipulate a handgun, your thumb is just like trying to load bullets in, trying to load clips into magazines in as fast as possible to pass any training or tests and to even balance the weapon. It was a no-go because my thumb was just non-operational. So they put me up to the mayor's office and they're like, well, you're done. That was the scariest day of my life and the best day of my life simultaneously. So they forced me into retirement. I went all in on wholesaling. Shortly thereafter, I signed up, got a lease here in downtown Phoenix. That's where all the big dogs and mentors were at. And I packed my car. I drove across the whole fucking country and went to where all the goats are at and surrounded myself with the biggest and best people in the industry. And eventually had a business divorce with my other partner. We just weren't seeing eye to eye. He was on the East Coast. I was on the West Coast. The time difference and the vision difference was not lining up. Then I started my own company, Fast Home Sales USA. And here we are today.
I love it, brother. I love it. Appreciate you for sharing all of that.
100%.
That's a great story.
I didn't know that you got your ligament fucked up in your hand, and that's what happened with the cop thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. I got lots of questions.
Please. That was the hardest thing to do, to break down your life and I don't know, whatever this
40 minutes, basically.
40 minutes break your entire life down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was concise enough.
I think it was.
It was for sure. Yeah, I got lots of questions. I'm trying to decide if I want to start at the end of the story or the beginning. I think I want to start towards the end. I have a question about your career in law enforcement, right? You were listening to a lot of podcasts, reading a lot of books like you do, opening your mind in that sense. Your foundation was entrepreneurial. While you were in law enforcement for that decade before the injury, did you always know you would eventually become an entrepreneur? Or did you see yourself being in law enforcement indefinitely until retirement age?
During the first 3 years, I went through college. I ended up getting my master's degree. I banged out all that shit. And my goal was to retire as a captain. I would never want to be chief of police. I wanted to work all the way up to captain. I wanted to be in control of the entire patrol division because a lot of cops are fucking retards. So I wanted to be the guiding light and show them the way and make them efficient and help them save a lot of lives. And only, if you have to make an arrest, but don't make it your goal to just arrest people. Make it your goal to find a solution to the problem and have a long lasting impact on the people's lives you touch every day on these calls. So that was the goal, to basically run the patrol division as a captain. And then if I retired from that, would be any sort of business administration role. I don't know, but that was pretty much the long term for a 25, 30-year plan. 3 years in, I realized that you are just a number. No one gives a shit about you. And the state of the union, as far as law enforcement, it was getting more and more dangerous. You were walking on more and more eggshells. You couldn't say or do the wrong thing. You basically had to be a fucking robot, and you couldn't have a bad day ever. And there were people really starting to get into your comfort zone where they would be poking on you, like literally poking a police officer in the chest, things like that. Or I didn't give a shit. If you come in my comfort zone, my circle within like 36 inches, and I have a duty belt full of weapons, and you shove your finger into my chest, I've had people bite me, scratch me, pull guns on me, everything. I yank them to the ground, handcuff them, they're under arrest. That's it. All the people that I arrested, it was for a reason. And I liked doing it because I was known as the cool cop. That was a great listener and had a lot of patience and a high tolerance for bullshit. So it was fun, but then it started getting not fun, worse and worse, more and more dangerous each year. The calls started getting more and more violent. There were more people calling out sick, more injuries. They wouldn't buy us new vehicles. They wouldn't pay for equipment. We would have to buy our own shit if we wanted to be protected. And it was an anti-police town. So there were those podcasts led me to a bigger vision. And that vision was likely, getting to maybe like 10,000 units or more. And basically getting a real estate empire going, or a cash flow business empire, or a combination of both. So the writing was on the wall probably a year into those podcasts, to answer your question.
Gotcha. I love that, dude. I love that. And yeah, I can imagine in that line of work, as the danger increases, the glamour decreases pretty quickly. But no, I actually, I think it's cool that you were known as being that cop. I had some run-ins personally growing up in my early years, and I met a lot of rough cops, but I also met a lot of cops who just wanted to hear me out. And I remember the faces. I don't remember all the names of those cops, but I'll remember those guys forever. Because although I was sitting in handcuffs and going through something crazy personally, they just like, talk to me, bro. What's going on? How are you? Are you good? And then I could just talk. And then I de-escalated through talking and communicating. And he's like, listen, man, you got to go, but just know you're not alone through this. So I could see you being that officer. And I think that's really cool, bro.
Yeah, man, it was interesting because I realized that everybody's a hot air balloon. When you're going through something, you just need to vent. Yeah. And I realized when they would go through their shit and they vent and just talk to somebody and I would hear them out, it would leave their system. Release the demons, as they say. So it would come out of their system, and the people that I heard out, there were certain people in the community that I started growing a little bit of a fan base where they were like, this guy changed my life. And there were other people where all they would do was vent and bitch, and they would never change anything. And that's when my patience would wear thinner and thinner. And just like everybody's a hot air balloon, eventually I would stop hearing them out and they would just be under arrest because I gave them enough leeway and they disrespected it.
Yeah.
So you got to draw a line in the sand with everything you do in your life. And you have to allow people in, yet protecting yourself simultaneously.
Absolutely.
So you wouldn't have arrested me for an eighth of marijuana?
No.
Cool. That guy was a dick. So it's funny because growing up in Jersey, obviously those of you guys that know me know I'm from Jersey as well. Me and Ross are literally from a town that is 15 minutes apart, which is the craziest thing, that we're boys now. Literally met in fucking Texas. Like, didn't meet in Jersey, nothing like that. Met in Texas at a fucking event. Growing up in Jersey, you growing up in my town, you really come to hate cops. Like, a lot of the cops that we encountered, a lot of the times, like I remember there were a couple ones that, like, we had a school resource officer at our high school because you needed a resource officer in Western Orange High School. And I love that guy. He was fucking dope. But like, there were a couple that we loved, but then there were a shit ton that were just assholes, just not helping. I mean, I had a couple run-ins myself with cops growing up too, where like they came to the house, the whole nine. We'll get into that in my story. But literally, I just remember like that being a thing, and then having that negative perspective towards cops for years. Like, bro, when I got arrested, I was fucking like, the guy was just, it's like, bro, I was in a suit. Like, I just came home from fucking work. Like, I'm literally just trying to get a fucking joint and go home and go to fucking bed. Like, it's not like I was like violent or doing anything out of the ordinary other than weed was illegal at the time. So when me and Ross met, guys, and I fucking listened to Ross's story about being a cop and everything, I had to ask. I was like, "Were you a dick? Like, what type of cop were you?" But it's just refreshing to hear that there are people like that out there that are like Ross, because a lot of police officers do abuse the duty, but a lot of them, and it's always the small town cops usually. But like a town like Morristown, I mean, there's fights that break out, there's craziness going on, and even in the small towns, I'm sure there's crazy shit that happens. But yeah, it's dope to hear that side of the story, Ross. And my question for
real quick to jump in there, I just want to give you everything's 80-20. So 80% of all cops are fucking awesome. 20% of them suck. Like that's what it comes down to. You were in insurance. 80% of people in insurance are probably pretty good people. They want to crush sales, but they also want to fucking change people's lives by giving them peace of mind with insurance. And they're there to change lives and make money, right? Because you hear these stories and people are concerned about the well-being of their family and you want to add value to their life, right? So 80% of people that sell insurance are awesome and 20% are pieces of shit. So it doesn't matter the town size, the department, the division, it's always 80-20. 80% fucking awesome, 20% suck. What do people most pay attention to? Human nature, the 20%. Because the human brain wants to go negative instead of positive, so they're only going to focus on the select few that fuck it up for everybody else instead of focusing on the good that truly there and would die for a stranger.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I learned, dude. And trust me, there were times, I mean, in West Orange, there were a shit ton of break-ins. Like people's houses were get broken into, fucking cars were getting stolen. Like that was very frequent in my town. And even though I didn't fuck with cops at certain points in my life, because I remember one of my best friends got slammed on the floor from a cop for fucking nothing. I'm sure he's being an asshole looking back on the story now.
Remember how you're talking about this now? There's a lot of ego involved. It's not even coming from you. It's like when you hear the story of the friend that got fucking thrown to the ground, there's three sides to every story.
Exactly.
His side, the cop side, and then the truth is going to be somewhere in between. But typically it's all out of ego.
And that's what it was. And for all the defund the police assholes out there, you know who you are.
Good luck in life.
Who the one of the stupidest ideologies I think I've ever heard of in my entire life is defunding police. It's like, maybe get more training if they needed that, something along those lines. That would be cool. Pay for more training.
Ongoing, continuous, lifelong training, yes.
That's it. But like defunding the police, saying that we don't need police officers in our life, you guys are fucking idiots that think that. Like, who are you going to call when someone breaks in? Who are you going to call when the violent people in our country are doing the violent shit? Like, that's why... It's actually funny. I don't know if I told you guys this part, but I did life insurance for cops for a little bit. Like I literally was going to lead. I think I did lead a seminar for police officers on showing them the benefits of life insurance. So I actually worked for the police, and this was right after I got arrested. Or actually, no, this was in the midst of me getting arrested. Sorry. And yeah, so it's funny because I had both sides with it, and my ego was definitely in the way back then when I was younger. But yeah, dude. It
just boils down to this. If you don't like the cops, it's only coming from a place of you did something wrong and you can't get over yourself. That's it. Everybody I know that's a cop basher, they're a piece of shit.
Unless they're arresting you for a fucking eighth of weed, which, like, look, I don't even smoke weed anymore. And
Joey still can't get over his little weed. Was it illegal?
Yes, but fuck them. It should have never been illegal.
Ego's always trying to save itself.
Yeah, it always is. It always is. But look,
save face.
Someone asked a question. Here, go ahead, and then I want to ask this question.
But as a leader now, you have extreme ownership, and 100% of the time, it's 100% your fault. So haven't the times changed since you got locked up for your bag of fucking dirt weed and now?
If I didn't get locked up, honestly, I was so pissed because it was some good-ass weed, Ross. It was a platinum kush, bro. This shit was fire.
Chronic. He had that chronic.
It was some really good weed. I'm not even gonna lie, but like actually, my favorite strain back then. But Yeah, it was my fault 100%. And if I never got arrested for weed, I would have never taken a fucking break of smoking, which brought me clarity to see what happens when you got off the weed. And I would have probably continued to smoke for way longer than I actually did. So that it's everything happens for a reason. I'm very grateful it happened at this point. But Ross, someone asked in the comments, and I kind of have a similar thought. What do you think gave you that much resilience? Do you think it was what happened with your dad? Or do you think, yeah, let's just leave it open ended. What do you think gave you that much resilience? Because throughout the entire story, there was resilience after resilience after resilience, where it's like you got the shit end of the stick so many times and you just kept pushing through. So,
Yep.
where do you think that came from?
I would say it's a combination of three things. Always being competitive when I was growing up, sports. Because if you focus on the losses or you fucked up the play, you're fucked as an athlete.
You're out.
You have to reset every play, not every game, every fucking play.
Yeah.
So turning your memory into a fucking reset button, like for a video game console, I guess. Sports were a huge part of it. My father's passing. Essentially, I think I remember telling my mom something along the lines of, well, I won't have to charge you for doing the lawn. I can do it for free now. And it was basically like, who's the man now? Like, there's no man. So I remember her getting profoundly upset. I don't know what emotions were going through her at the time, but maybe she was sad, but happy, a little bit of all. But looking at it, times have changed, and it's just the man of the house is forever gone. So who's going to step up? And I was the only guy in the house. So, like, what do you think? Like, so, like, and I'm not saying I was the man of the house at 10 through 14. I was a fucking disaster. My mentality of wanting to aspire to be at least 10% of the man of the house that he was someday was always resonating in the back of my brain. And then, honestly, learning from other people's heartaches that are in my circle, and when they had things that were either really rough or not even close, and seeing them relive that over and over and over and over again. And it was wanting to do the opposite and live the opposite type of life that they were living, which is a life of misery.
Yeah.
So I would say a combination of all three of those things put together created that relentless resilience.
Okay.
I have a follow-up question, because what you just said is something that I can relate to, and I think Joey as well, from what I know about his story. So passing your dad happens 10 years old, and you had that realization at age 10, which is a lot earlier than I think a lot of boys/men have the realization and start having the thoughts about, like, who's going to be the man in the house now, right? I grew up in a house with my mother, my grandmother, and my little brother. It's just us four. I always felt this expectation, not really from anybody externally. It was probably more of an internal expectation to do what you're saying, is like, well, now I got to step up, right? If somebody comes into my family's house, who's protecting everybody? I'm like 10, 11, 12 years old having these thoughts. So how did you grapple with the reality that there was no more man of the house after the passing of your father? And, like, how did that feel for you in your 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13, 14-year-old brain?
It was going into, honestly, it was just going into a state of depression and isolation. And instead of being scared to sit with my thoughts, I focused on my thoughts. I asked a lot of questions to myself. And I basically was like, everybody else is just a hot mess around me. What can I do to help a little bit, or make them laugh, or because I was the fucking clown. I would do crazy dumb shit, very self-sabotaging just to fucking get a rise out of people.
Yeah.
But I would always kind of focus on bringing other spirits up, because I realized that when my spirits are down, even when I'm in my worst funk, as soon as I light someone else up, selfishly, that lights me up even more. So, yeah, it was a lot of things. It was a lot of just getting away from people and slowing time down as best you could.
I love that, man. That's actually quite amazing that at that young of an age you recognized, and maybe you didn't even consciously know that this is what was going on. With hindsight now, obviously you can understand what was going on, but yeah, you were like using humor, self-sabotaging, doing funny things to make other people who you care about laugh, share your light with them, and then you saw their light shine, in turn turning your light bulb brighter. I think that's pretty incredible, and I think I might relate to that a little bit as I'm thinking back to my experience around that same age, because I was a goofball as well. I can never really tell you why. I just like to see people laugh, and it's nice to put a smile on somebody else's face, even on the darkest days. Like, I'm feeling like shit today, but let me make grandma laugh in the kitchen doing something stupid, and then I feel a little bit better. So I think that's pretty dope, man. I like that.
Would you say the resilience was what's the word I'm thinking of? A defense mechanism as well? As you went further and further into everything? Would you say like you kind of learned like through everything that you went through with the death of your dad, obviously, and then the humor as well could be a defense mechanism, but would you say the resilience was also part of that?
Yeah, I am. I still work on it to this day. I am forever guarded. I don't see it going away, but that comes with resilience. It's you're basically a brick shit house, so allowing people in, it's not something I like to do. It's also not something I'm just not the best at it, and it's just a weakness. I just don't. I think as I get older, it'll probably lessen because it'll be probably an area of focus. But being an entrepreneur, like, you have to go in even deeper. So, letting a guard down, or your defense mechanism of being like shielded. I would say the shield up has been more beneficial than the shield down, if I was to compare apples to apples. When my shield was down, I got into the wrong groups of people. I was taken advantage of. I've been at parties where I've been fucking choked out and had my head slammed against the wall by a bunch of drug addicts. I've had knives pulled on me. I've gotten my heart broken multiple times for allowing just the wrong women in my life, and then realizing they are just like, some of these women were absolutely fucking batshit crazy. Even to this day, it wasn't just me. It was like more people. They're like, holy shit, still she's fucking crazy. Like, no one even got, like, the family doesn't even fucking talk, like, things like that. So when I put my guard up, it was 100%. It's 100% a partial defense mechanism, but I use it as a weapon for greatness rather than turning the weapon around and stabbing myself.
Understood. No, because I can relate to that extremely heavy, where it's like, I think the three of us are extremely resilient people. Like, with our business stories and timelines and the shit that we've gone through, even just in the last year, we've 100% shown resilience, obviously. But what I've realized is like the most hurt people are the most resilient, right? Like they say, like we were talking about it last week on Jordan's podcast, with the depth of your struggle will determine the height of your success. And as we're going through this and talking about it, and then the guy I was talking to yesterday, it's kind of making me realize it's like, it is your ego that's up as your shield. and your ego is literally shielding us as we go through this entrepreneurial journey. And what we're doing, it is a defense mechanism. And then I'm reading the book, The Leader Without the Title, and what they say is self-work. Like, we always think that self-work is leveling ourselves up, right? Like us becoming better people. But what it really is, like the true definition of self-work, it's actually unlearning everything that we've learned. Like, instead of becoming, the way that we become the best version of ourselves is Ross being Ross before your dad passed away. Like, you going back to that infant state where you were fully free. And when you're fully free, there isn't that shield up. There isn't anything of it where it's like, if you let the shield go, now you're pointing it at yourself. It's actually the opposite. You're actually like, that is like we were talking about before, the peace level. It's like the closer we get to peace, the more freedom we have, the less stress we have, the less chasing happiness we have, all of it. But it comes from literally us not shielding things, us not being resilient, right? Like, obviously, I'm not saying we can't be resilient. We have to be in business. Otherwise, we would not have any money in our bank accounts or any of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm hearing the story, it's like, if we can learn to, because like, this is me as well. This isn't just for you, Ross. Like, I've felt this shit heavy now as I'm hearing your story and like listening to it and seeing it. It's like that shield once, it's called surrendering. That's what the guy Armin was talking about yesterday. That's what his life mission is, where he's fully surrendered now and he's at peace. And I feel like that it's like, as we're chasing success and we're chasing betterment every single day, and like, we want to be the best versions of ourselves, the best versions of ourselves are actually letting go of all of the shit that we went through, all the lessons we learned and everything, and just being at that child state again. Like, for example, when the three of us are on the phones and we're just cackling like fucking hyenas about the stupidest of shit,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's actually our truest form. That's actually our, like, that it, like, if you feel how we feel in that moment, that laughter, that is the peace. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah. So I feel like, as I'm hearing your story, as I'm probably going to tell my story next week and Jordan's story, what we keep doing is like, we're trying to be guarded because we don't want to. I can relate it to relationships, right? Where like, you were just saying how you were very hurt by many women, right? Dude, I've fucking had so many women break my fucking heart. And for me, I just am fucking retarded. I just kept going back towards it, to the point that 5 years ago, or probably 8 years or 7 years ago now, I completely cut off dating. Like, no women, no dating. I went almost monk mode. Like, no fucking nothing.
Right.
And when I got in that state, yes, I healed a lot of shit inside myself. But what I realized too is like, I can't get to the point where I'm so far in the other direction where I could never have a relationship with a woman again, because I'm so shielded from all the women that have hurt me, right? And then when I opened that up and like, I healed that part of me that was like, okay, like, let me look at my ex-girlfriends. Like, this one cheated on me, that one cheated on me, that one cheated on me. They're all cheating on me. Then I found one that didn't. And I was like, but she was fucking crazy. Like, that bitch was as crazy as they could ever come, but she didn't cheat on me. So there was the lesson learned there, which was they're not all going to cheat on you. But like, I had to do a lot of self-reflection there, right? And what I'm seeing from it is, once you submit to it, where it's like, when I met my wife, I was submitted. Like, bro, literally before I met my wife, I went through like one girl that was very negative energy. I didn't date anyone before this, but it was just like talking to women, having sex, whatever. And one that was like really, well, 3 girls before this. I went through one that almost broke my heart again. We didn't even date. And like, I remember I was miserable for like 3 months after this girl for no reason. Literally was with her for a month. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Then I met another one, negative energy, didn't want to do it. I was fucked up for like 2 weeks in terms of just weird energy around me. So there was something after we had sex that just stuck to me. And I was like, let's get that away from me. Then the last girl before I moved out to Colombia, like, dope ass connection, beautiful sex. Like, it was all great. And then she just cut me off out of nowhere. And I was like, what the fuck is, like, something's calling me to move. Moved out to Colombia 3 months later, met my wife, got married a year later, right? And it's like, when you But at that point, I was fully submitted. I wasn't like, fuck women, I'm not getting into a relationship. I was like, oh no, we're getting fucking close. Like we're getting really fucking close. If like this keeps happening, that there's something that we're getting near and it's gonna fucking come, and then it did. So I see, that's why I asked that question, because that kind of opened my mind up to this, which is like we have to submit to everything that we've been through. And I feel like when that happens and you open yourself up, it's going to open up every door that's been closed that we've been trying to get to. And I heard on the podcast, how the video I sent both you guys this morning, what the fuck did it say, bro? It was like something along the lines of, oh no, if we keep focusing on it, it keeps happening, right? It's like energy, the law of attraction.
Yeah.
But when we pull our focus off of it, whatever that problem was, and we just submit to it, and it's like, all right, whatever happens is going to happen, then that outcome that we were longing for actually comes. It's almost like they say in relationships, like when you're looking for someone, it's not going to come. And then when you stop looking, they actually end up coming. I feel like it's kind of that exact same law.
I mean, I'm at that point of like, as far as like relationships, I'm just going to let it flow. I think in this journey of leveling up, your standards go up, dude. Like they just do. And I've yet to really meet a woman that is going to live a life by my side of self-development and self-improvement.
It's hard to find.
They're very hard to find. Or when you talk about this stuff, they just think you're fucking weird, right? That's so weird. That's weird. And I'm like, you know what? Living your same existence over and over again until you're fucking dead. That's weird.
So,
but like dying at 25 and being buried at 75. That's weird.
Damn,
that's crazy.
That was deep.
That's a bar.
That's how most people fucking live, dude.
Dying at 25, but being buried at 75.
Yep, and that's usually right around the cutoff of when people stop learning and growing for most of society. But essentially, like, I'm just going to allow, like, as far as the relationship, like, just going to see what happens. Like, I'm not actively pursuing it, but I'm not actively against it. What I do want is to turn a business into a fucking machine that at least on a bad month is printing 50K profit every single month until I'm dead. And I'm probably going to accomplish that, I would say, within the next 12 to 18 months. So that'll be the first one. Then I'm going to 10X that business and bring it up to 500K a month. And then maybe eventually 10X that again at 5 million a month. Who fucking knows? Whatever you could pull off before you're dead, it's going to be multiple sources of income. But at the same time, when you're shooting for these ridiculous monthly incomes, do you know how much you have to level up as a person?
A lot.
So that's why I'm almost, in the grand scheme of things, do I want to bring somebody in my life? Am I in a rush to bring somebody in my life at this moment? If it happens, great, but they would have to be my side on that journey. And if they're not, they're done. Or I might level up fucking 20 levels in a year. And then at that time, it was the perfect moment for someone to enter my life. And I got a way better version instead of settling for someone of who the person I am today.
100%.
That's the kind of gamble you gotta.
Well, that's a gamble we gotta play. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think the one thing I've learned with going through all the bad relationships is you figure out what you don't want, right? Like Ross, at this point in your life, if I gave you a homework assignment to give me a list of everything that you don't want out of a woman, you could probably give me a list this fucking long, right? Like you would have all your boxes that you need checked off as a man that are the absolute non-negotiables, right? And once you meet a woman that has all those non-negotiables, then from there you're good. Because like,
and I do the same, and I focus on the person. Just like you're saying, like I focus on the good. And I also ensure that I'm a mirror image of what I'm looking for in a woman.
Yes.
Important.
Because that's how you have to be.
It's got to be an even value.
From the front.
It's got to be an even value exchange. It really does.
Yeah.
Like if I want like this fucking golden girl that's just like God's gift, right? That's fucking loyal, perfect, beautiful, gym rat, selfless, fucking just would lay on the tracks for you. And I wouldn't do the same, minus looking like a female, obviously. Um, dude, like then I'm a piece of shit for wanting such standards that are out of my own.
Yeah.
So it's up to me to fucking level up as high as I fucking can. Obviously, before I'm in a wheelchair, and it start naturally magnetizing higher quality people. That's what it comes down to.
Which you're doing every single day, knowing you as a boy, like 100%.
I'm a real boy.
It's crazy how many people I feel like in society, male and female, whatever, doesn't matter which side, who don't understand that relationships are reciprocal. I'm very much that way. If I expect it from somebody, I expect it from myself. I don't feel like it's fair to not expect that out of myself if that's what I'm looking for, just like you're saying. But it's a lot of people who have told me that's a crazy way to be. And then they go out there and they don't do everything they know they should be doing, but then they expect that out of a partner. They expect that out of a friend. They expect that out of a sibling, a parent, whatever.
Mhm.
Why should they share that light with you if you don't have that light to share back? It doesn't make any sense. It's selfish.
Yeah.
It's entitled, right? Go do the work. Go work on you. And like you're saying, it's the law of the universe. It's the law of God. Whatever you believe in, you will automatically, inevitably magnetize people who are on that same mission and on that same path, who have that same light towards you. And you'll meet them and you'll be like, yeah, this is reciprocal. This feels right. This feels nice. And then y'all will help your light grow even more by proximity. Right.
It'll magnetize it, and you'll know when you find the right person, because as you said, Joey, you'll be at peace.
Yeah.
I've only met out of the hundreds of women in my life.
You haven't met one that's brought you to peace, otherwise you'd still be with her.
Like true inner peace? No. Some have, but I wasn't either good enough, or there was just something that was like timing. Timing was the thing, like people going to college, things like that. Like a lot of it was timing, honestly. So it was either I wasn't at the right spot or they were on some other venture where it didn't click. But a couple have brought me peace. But it doesn't mean you're going to end up with these people.
No, 100%.
Or maybe I wanted to at that time, particularly, because I've dumped everyone. I've never been dumped. I dumped them. So
I've been dumped. I've done. I mean, I've stayed through the toxicity. You guys will hear that with my stories. But the one thing I genuinely believe, like genuinely wholeheartedly believe, is when you do finally meet that person that is your soulmate, it's going to make every relationship you've ever been through make sense. Like that was literally how it was with my wife, at least for us. It was like, brother, like, look, we're going to fight. We're going to have problems. You're never going to have nothing will ever be 100% perfect. God did not make us perfect for a reason. If everything was 100% perfect, you would be so fucking bored with that person. It wouldn't even be funny. But you're going to have, you're going to know your non-negotiables, right? And you're going to meet that. But once you meet that one person that like, it will make it all worth it. All the bullshit, every bullshit that any woman has ever put you guys through, it'll be fucking worth every bit of that. And it really has come true, at least in my life. And I don't know where I heard that from, where I saw it, but I did see it somewhere. And like, I remember listening to that and I was like, I hope this is true. Because these women sucked before my wife. Like they were shitty, but you know, not every single one of them. There's some beautiful people I was with inside and out, but obviously it wasn't meant to be. Otherwise we'd still be together. So yeah, dude.
No, it's true in my life, my marriage, my wife, and the barometer that I use, right, is yeah, we fight, sure, we argue, we disagree, we have different opinions, whatever. I look at like on a percentage, right? What's the ratio of peaceful days to non-peaceful days? You know, in my house, it's so high that on the days when, sure, we're arguing, whatever, we're unhappy towards each other, that's like 1 out of 10. It's a 10%, but 90% is high peace, happiness, contentment. Yeah, I'm all good, man. But listen, y'all know me well enough. I think I cried on my episode. My heart is just right here all the time. I never really learned the lesson and put walls up. Maybe I should have. I'm just diving in fully emotional, fully hard on my sleeve into every relationship I've ever been in. And boy, my heart's been broken, man. I'm right there with both of you. And it sucks. It's hard. But yeah, and then eventually I found the one who I was like, there's way more peaceful days. There's way more happy days than there is the opposite. And I understand we're not ever going to get to a place of perfection. And yeah, eventually I got there, but I wasn't looking for it. I mean, I think ultimately we all always are. That's human nature, male or female. It's not a fun thought to be lonely. But when I stopped looking for it, and I was just like, yeah, and this was around high school age, fresh out of high school. I was trying to date every girl I could, and then we got here, and grateful for it. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of hard lessons learned along the way. A lot of hard lessons with my wife when we were young together. But yeah, the place we're at now, it's peace, mostly peace. You know what I mean? Every day can't be 100%, but nah, and I see you with Cielo going through it, brother, and takes a lot to get there, man. A lot of heartbreak, a lot of hard relationships. But for me, it started getting better when I started working on Jordan. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Always does. Always does. Because
Ross,
it's almost like well, everything in life happens for you. So all those previous relationships, imagine if you did end up with one of those pieces of shit. That would suck.
that
I got
happens to a lot of people.
a lot of friends that fucking the old divorce is becoming a common theme, and it's because of settling. It's settling, and it's not, and it's there wasn't peace from the get go, but societal's norms influenced them, and they made a terrible decision, and that's why they're going through a divorce. But again, that happened for them. A divorce happens for you. Um, Losing someone that you care about happens for you, right? It's just your response to it. You can either freak the fuck out, or you can say, this is a stepping stone to get to something that's way better that I never even knew I was capable of acquiring, you know?
100%. 100%. Ross, what would you say was the biggest turning point in your story where I guess where it all turned around, right? Like where you went from, was it literally 14 years old when you were going through the self sabotage and then you turned it? Or would you say, was there ever moments after 14 when you were getting older where you still were self sabotaging? Like where was,
Dude, I was self sabotaging all the way up to 35. Come on.
okay. So it was the last 3 years that the biggest, that we all know Ross is old here, guys. The last 3 years that you made the biggest change was 3 years ago, you say. Was that the biggest turning point?
Yeah, there was never a moment. It was just, I mean, just certain things happen to you in life. It's just kind of like the more broke, busted, and disgusted you are with yourself, the pain has to outweigh not changing.
Yep.
That's just human nature 101. You will never make a change until you have basically fucking dragged yourself through hundreds of yards of broken glass. And then you're eventually like, this hurts way too much. I'm over this broken glass. I'm cut up. I'm scarred. I'm bleeding. And I'm over this. I'm done. So it was just a lot of little moments that added up to a breaking point. And I really didn't like, as far as like self-sabotaging stuff, I mean, I negotiate with it every day of trying to become more disciplined. I'm still self-sabotaging. Every time we pick up our fucking phone, you're sabotaging something, right? It'll never end. It's always a negotiation of just, you know what to do, so do it, right? But it got more serious. They say a man's life doesn't start till 40 years old. So I'll be 40 in about a year and a half. And I think that's when the new beginning will really, really kind of land. So we're getting there, to answer your question.
Is there ever going to be a moment or a point in your life where you are no longer self sabotaging anything? Do you think you can achieve that?
No,
Is it possible?
no, because we're not perfect. And if we lived a perfect life without self-sabotaging, life would be pretty fucking boring, right?
Facts.
Sometimes you just got to fucking self-sabotage, man.
No lessons to learn in the absence of self-sabotage, as crazy as that statement may seem.
Yeah, because I mean, if you have it all, you have the money, you have the girl, you have the fucking business that's a fucking machine, you live where you want. I don't know. Let's go out and do some dumb shit, right? Let's fucking live a little. I don't know.
Is that living though? Is that
Sometimes-
living?
Sometimes,
Going out
yeah,
doing some
sometimes
shit.
you have to fuck shit up to feel a little.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you think
Healthy
is
toxicity?
healthy toxicity? What do you think is the reason that you want to go that big in terms of the business side? Like, what do you think is causing you to want to go have $500 million businesses one day? Why? What's the point of it?
I guess coming from a poor family, being around a lot of people with fixed mindsets, and a lot of people that said, "Yeah, right." Kind of like the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing, or like Michael Jordan, like, "Tell me I can't, and I will." To prove to myself that I'm capable of doing it, and then before I die, I could say like, "Yo, I left a massive impact on this world. I've helped out millions and millions of people. I've had a small influence in millions and millions of people's lives. Got them that much better as a human being, and I could forever say I left this earth and I fucked shit up in a good way.
I love it.
Dying with no regrets."
That's the goal, man. That is the goal. Honestly, that's one of my biggest fears as a human being, is laying on my deathbed. Hopefully I got a lot of years until that's the reality, and I'm laying there and all I'm thinking about as my family is surrounding me is all the things I regret not doing before I got to this point. That scares the hell out of me. So I'm right there with you, bro.
It should.
Yeah, got to leave it all out there. Got to leave it all on the line. Got to do every single thing every single day to help as many people as possible, because, yeah, I'd like to be laying there. And at that moment, I just want to be looking into the faces of the people who choose to be there and being like, man, it was a great fucking ride, man. Like you said, I went and fucked shit up while I was here, and I don't regret shit.
That's it. You could literally leave this earth saying, "Fucking crushed it." Like, that's it. What's your life in 3 words? Fucking crushed it. Like if you could boil down someone's whole life, like everything they touch turned to gold, essentially. Like, yeah. The one thing that we do have to watch, though, Jordan, is the order we do things in. So it starts with us. Then we help out other people every single day.
Absolutely. The oxygen mask analogy, right?
Because you can get caught in that trap and it's just another distraction. Oh, I'm doing this because I want to help people. Okay, what have you done to help yourself? Jack shit. Cool. Well, you're fucking your progress on helping out all those people because you can't even take care of yourself. And who the fuck's going to take you seriously?
Yeah. I think that's the season of life that I'm in right now, personally, my brother.
But step one is you're labeling it already. You're already in the top 5, if not 1% of society, that you're realizing where you're at, and you can immediately label it almost in detail. Doesn't mean it's fixed. Doesn't mean you even maybe started the process of it. But when you label something, that is the step one of eventually what's going to be a new beginning.
Love that perspective, man. I love it. All right, I got maybe a less serious question for you.
Sure.
But it pertains to your story. So
I didn't realize you were gay.
No, I mean, yeah. I didn't know you were so involved in music, bro. I love that. I relate to that. My family growing up, my grandmother who helped raise me and my brother, she sang in Sweet Adelines. It was a big chorus, and then she sang in a quartet. She traveled all around the country. So a lot of her daughters got into Sweet Adelines, the chorus, and my mom's a singer. My brother went to school, got his musical theory degree. Very musical family. I produced hip hop and kind of dipped into the world. So a question I wrote that I wanted to ask you is, what was the most memorable show that you played in as a drummer? I'm just curious.
Edgefest in Canada, when they had that, we opened up for Yellow Card and Story of the Year on the side outdoor stage, and it was a sea of people. I couldn't even make sense of it, honestly. It was a pivotal moment that I look back on. They have a couple videos, and I had this crazy fucking mohawk and shit.
Oh, we need to see this.
I do need to see that photo. I love it.
And
It's fire, dude.
yeah, there were just so many fucking people, and like Canadians are just nicer. They're just nicer people. I don't know. Like the crime's lower up there. They're just like, they leave their doors unlocked. You know, oh, you want to come to our house after the show? Come party, have a couple Labatt Blues. Hey, come on over. They're just very. They were very nice. I have a very high level of respect for Canadians. Always have, especially playing hockey. But yeah, I would say that moment of just essentially it was a sea of people. I couldn't even give you a head count on it. And it was one of those days where it was like God was in all of us on that stage, where it was also one of our best performances ever.
Oh, that's sweet. I just got chills from that, actually, because I think music is, for me, music is very spiritual, brother. I don't know what it is. Out of all forms of media that I could consume, possibly, aside from books, literature, it's music. I feel like when I get the chills, it's something spiritual. Couldn't explain it to you, couldn't articulate it, but I experience that with music so often. So it's cool to hear you make that statement that God was playing through you, and you were probably spiritually affecting all those people listening. I'm just envisioning that with your big mohawk. That's an awesome moment, bro. That's a cool story. And I love Yellow Card, bro. It might be surprising to some, maybe not though, because although I look like this, I grew up in Utah. They listened to rap growing up, man. Alternative rock was my shit. Yellow Card, Good Charlotte, Green Day, all these bands loved it. So that's also a little fangirl moment. It's pretty dope that you're up on a stage like that, dude. That's cool.
Yeah, man. It was fun. Looking back on it, I did forget to bring up Arnold Schwarzenegger because I'm just absolutely obsessed with that man. And I feel like he already has lived about 7 or 8 lives.
Yeah.
And I'm already on probably my 3rd or 4th. Every 6 or 7 years, it's a new life. And every trial and tribulation or challenge, I just get excited for the next kind of journey. And I hope to live a lot of lives before I croak, And that's what that guy's doing. I look up to him every single day. He's had probably the biggest impact in my life as far as mindset and being able to visualize the future. And if you obsess about it enough and do everything in your power and don't take no for an answer, you will accomplish everything you put your mind to.
No, I love that, bro. I need to look into Arnold's story a little bit more. For me, I was always kind of a fat kid, so I'd look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and be like, man, that's Hercules in modern day form. And I got no business looking into that guy's story. But now that I'm hearing you say that, I know. It's limiting beliefs for sure.
Limiting beliefs like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. We're getting over that. I'm interested in checking out Schwarzenegger and his story. And my little brother, not Schwarzenegger, but Mike Tyson, surprisingly enough, was a big inspiration for him. As I'm hearing you say that, I was like, who is my inspiration? Just kind of like a famous person. And I'm going to say it's probably Kanye West, not because of bodybuilding, but because of breaking through barriers and being ostracized and getting to his goal anyways. But no, that's cool, man. I'm going to look into Arnold. Maybe it'll inspire me to be a bodybuilder too. That'll be sick.
Nice. Yeah, check out his the 3-part series they did on Netflix. It's like basically each of his lives that they were able to kind of put together. But watch that 3-part series. I think it's the principles. Like if you put a gun to my head and said watch 2 things, like if you wanted to get influenced by either a person or a movie to directly apply to your personal life, it would be Arnold's 3-part documentary and then the movie The Matrix.
Dang. You know what is crazy? I've never watched The Matrix from beginning to end.
Yeah, as an entrepreneur, I think you are doing yourself a massive disservice.
Now I gotta watch it.
That is what we're living in. Like,
that's crazy.
I gotta watch that shit now. Fuck.
I love movies. Joey doesn't like watching anything fun or doing anything fun, so that's surprising to hear him say that. But no, I'm gonna watch Matrix post haste, and I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I think it was also a show that came out when I was pretty young, and my mom was pretty strict about what I was allowed to watch. I think that was on the do not watch list. Was it rated R?
Could be. Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. Maybe PG-13, but it's there's some things in there. But if you watch it through, like, all my coaches have essentially recommended that movie, or that had a big impact in their life as entrepreneurs. And when you put on the entrepreneur hat and kind of reflect back when you were an employee at a certain time, and you watch that movie through your current lens at this moment as an entrepreneur, it is a completely different movie. So it's almost a blessing that you haven't seen it, because you get to wear it with the best hat and through the best lenses. So it'll probably have a much bigger impact on you.
Yeah, that's sweet. I'm excited now. Oh my God, that'll probably be a personal watch too. I'll throw it on the iPad and watch it. Not before bed though. I feel like the dreams would be crazy.
It's up to you, man.
No, I appreciate the recommendation. I'll do it.
Take some mushrooms and watch it.
No way, that'd be crazy.
So fucking crazy. No, I couldn't do that. I'm joking.
No, that's wild.
No, I fucking love it. Any more questions for Ross Jordan?
Yeah, one more. I got a list here. I'm trying, we're time crunch, but one more. I'm curious. This part of your story. I think it was getting your GED. You were able to accomplish that. I think you said in either a matter of weeks or maybe it was a weekend when you. Basically, the question I wrote is: you seem to have gotten through any educational endeavor and passed these tests much faster than most average people in society. What do you think helped you do that? Because I'm kind of give me a test, I'll pass that shit. But for you personally, what do you think allowed you to quickly acclimate to the knowledge and succeed in tests and pass whatever you had in front of you?
Learning the test, purposefully putting my back against the wall, and finding a way. Because I wasn't the best test taker. But what I'll do is I'll just what's going to be on the test? How do they administer the test? What is the baseline passing score, and what are the top 20% areas I need to focus on that are going to get me 80% of the results? And then I'll just basically just dive into that so aggressively right before the test. So it was top of mind. You're only fucking taking it to remember what's fresh off the last thing you remembered, and then just bang it out and be done with it. So I hated taking tests. I hated the educational system. I think it's a load of shit. And I think if people want to become doctors, attorneys, or anything where it is needed, they don't enjoy it either. But you got to do what you got to do. So if you just put yourself in uncomfortable situations and force it, you could be half retarded and fucking pass with flying colors if you put your mind to it. And it's all just mindset. That's it. There is no secret hack.
Yeah, that's an interesting answer. Would you consider yourself a crammer? Like you cram knowledge into the brain, take the test the next morning?
Crammer.
Oh my God, Joseph, you define crammer.
Yeah, I'm more like moderate tempo, weeks or a month before, and then I'll go ape shit. Let's say the test is on a Friday. I'll go absolutely ape shit on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like fucking 8, 12-hour days. And then I will just gently review notes the day before and the morning before the test, and then I'm done.
Interesting. I love that. I'm an extreme procrastinator, and I actually quite enjoy tests personally because I'll study the night before. I did not study for the 3 weeks leading up to this. Let me read the book the night before. Flashcards, okay. Take test, boom, 80%. Sick. See ya. But my graduation from high school was somewhat similar. I got kicked out of high school, and then I had to do packets to graduate to earn credits. I smashed that shit out in just a couple of weeks. It was not fun. I also very much dislike the public school system that exists in America today. But yeah, no, that's cool. I was just curious about that. It's a nerdy question, kind of, but I think that's a cool thing to be able to go and accomplish that type of stuff in the amount of time that you did, where it takes some people 4 fucking years to get there and pass those tests, sometimes longer.
Yeah, I hated it so much. I just rushed through it, honestly. Like between county college, that was typically people would graduate within 2 to 3 years. Getting a bachelor's degree was more towards 5, and then getting a master's was another, typically 1.5 to 2 years. I banged all that out in 3.5 years. I wanted it done with, out of my life. And I just fucking honestly just turned on the accelerators. I was like, if I basically black out for 3.5 years, this is going to be over with forever. And then that's it.
I love that. I think that's a major testament to your character, honestly. From a nerd's perspective, I just love knowledge. I love learning. I love testing my knowledge, whether that be an actual test or I go out and try to do something like build a business.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool, man.
Life is a test.
Ain't it? One big giant fucking test, man.
Literally just fucking tests. Every day you're tested without even knowing it. It's just, what area am I being tested on today? How well am I going to do? It's a fucking test. We're a bunch of guinea pigs.
Facts. I smell better than a guinea pig, I think, because those things stink. My daughter wants one. I said, no, ma'am. No guinea pig.
Me and Ross do. I don't know if you do it with your fucking shower every other day, but
Jesus, it's a medical condition, okay? We're working on it. We'll cure the eczema, and we'll be there, okay?
An eczema hater there, guy.
Yeah, I can't help it, okay?
Karma's gonna fuck me, and I'm gonna get eczema, so I gotta chill.
Oh, absolutely. Keep fucking dishing them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boomerang effect. Right back at you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, Ross, thank you for fucking sharing everything today. This was dope as shit. Went deep into the life of Ross. I love it. We got to do, we're doing one last one next week, which is going to be me. So hopefully I don't cry like Jordan. We'll see. We'll be good. I'm not big on crying. So I think we'll make it through. But Ross did good. He did not cry, Jordan. So look, you see, that's how it's done, buddy.
Shove off, brother. Yeah.
I'm going to say all this and then bawl my eyes out next week. So
I'm going to ask him such deep questions that
we'll make him cry.
Joey, you are so fucked.
I'm an open book, so bring it on, boys.
Let's do it.
Make sure they have Alice. You don't upset your little pale skin, okay?
No, it is pale right now, bro. The sun's out. I might go to the pool for an hour now.
Yeah, get yourself some sun on that cue ball, okay? Ross, appreciate you, major brother. I know it's not easy. That is a little bit uncomfortable. It was for me last week, for sure. It's getting deeper than I ever have on a public platform, but I appreciate the opportunity to know a little bit more.
See, it's going across the street.
Out. Yeah, we out of it. We all the way out of it now, Papa.
Everybody's got a great story. It's just, are you willing to dive into it? But stories are way more memorable than you just talking about your current wins. Stories stick. They were the first form of kind of like communication with stories, whether through art or the first speaking. So stories are awesome. We all want to hear them. I'm excited for Joey's. He's definitely fucking crying. And until next week, right, guys?
Let's go, man. It's been a pleasure, fellas.
Until next week, guys, remember to get the fuck out of your comfort zone. Get the fuck out of Medellin in the next couple of months. More specifically, May 15th to May 17th, we're going to be running it up. So get your tickets. Hit us up for the links. Everything's set and ready to go. And we just got Michael Smoke confirmed to be speaking. Contract signed, money sent, and he will be speaking out here, Higher Up Wellness. So get ready for that too, guys, because we're bringing probably the best speaker lineup that I think anyone has ever brought out. And there's one more person that will be getting confirmed tomorrow, so y'all will see that. But stay tuned for the next episode, guys. Jordan, appreciate you coming on here. Ross, appreciate you being so open. I know this wasn't fun or easy for you, but I think we made it pretty fun. We got it out. So everybody, go ahead.
We got it done.
Yes.
Thank
We got
you.
it done.
Thank you for letting me share. And it is. These are challenging conversations, but if you do these every few years, like reflecting back, you'll notice how much you've changed. It's crazy. Like, I don't think I've ever done it in this detail at this age. So there's so many changes that occurred, which is great because we're leveling up.
And it's a form of therapy, going all the way back in, letting it all out, and then fucking now we're going to go back and fucking run up a $500 million business, each one of us. So.
Oh, man. Come on.
Let's fucking get it, guys. Everybody go have a good rest of your week. Stay tuned for the replay. It'll be getting dropped on YouTube in the next couple of days. And appreciate y'all for coming and tuning in. Peace the fuck out, everybody.
Peace out.